$15, even cheaper if you want to bring a group. Don't miss your chance to see professional stars like Jordan Larson and Lexi Rodriguez in action this season. Purchase your preferred ticketing option today by visiting lovbneb.com/tickets. Big box stores are tempting for buying equipment for your high schooler in sports or for yourself in your sports leisures. But buying new is awfully expensive. Why not go somewhere with new and used options? Play It Again Sports is quality, slightly to gently used equipment, and 50% of their inventory is actually new equipment. And it's more than baseball, softball, and golf. They also have equipment for disc golf, fitness, hockey, and more. Plus, they're always buying products. Bring your gear you're done with and get trade money on the spot. Play It Again Sports at 48th and Vine.
This is Lincoln's home for sports talk on the FM dial. Also online at theticketfm.com. On the internet. KNTK FM Firth, 93.7 The Ticket.
Salt Mine City is your go-to brewery in the Haymarket for craft beers and great food. Enjoy a full menu of great items daily for lunch and dinner, like their Big Fatty 7-ounce hamburger or a Reuben sandwich served on Blackstone rye bread. And don't forget their beef or chicken nachos with guacamole, sour cream, jalapenos, and more. Wash it down with one of their 12 beers on tap, including the popular Single Axle Light American Lager. Salt Mine City, now open 2 p.m. Monday through Thursday and 11 a.m. Friday through Sunday at 8th and R.
Hi, Sean Callahan here for Coppell Chevrolet GMC, the number one fastest growing GMC dealer in the Omaha and Lincoln area. We are going to keep this train rolling in a big way with new half-ton and 4x4 pickup trucks starting at $12,500 off list price or 0% financing. You heard that right, $12,500 off list price or 0% financing. You pick which one works better for you. Please stop on in the dealership and meet the team or check us out at koppelcars.com. Stock number C280930. All deals with approved credit.
This is former Husker and NFL linebacker Jay Foreman. For years, I've suffered from degenerative problems in both of my ankles, but thanks to a thorough and thought-out plan provided by Advanced Medical Imaging, I was able to get my life back with the least amount of pain as possible. While working through multiple options, the team of physicians at Advanced Medical Imaging were there to answer any questions I had. If you're experiencing any pain at all and want to get your life back, go to amimaging.com or give them a call at 402-484-6677. Advanced Medical Imaging, located at 7601 Pioneers Boulevard.
Are you tired of your usual barbershop experience? Stop into Scissors and Scotch today. I know what you're thinking. Drink during a haircut? Don't worry. First comes the precision cut from one of their experienced barbers, followed by your complimentary cocktail in their upscale lounge. Scissors and Scotch blends your old school barber feel with your favorite watering hole. And now you can earn $10 off by simply mentioning the ticket. And if you're an existing member, still mention the ticket for an exclusive offer. Offer valid at Lincoln location only. Scissors and Scotch, located just south of 30th and Yankee Hill, and online at lincoln.scissorscotch.com.
Lincoln's go-to for fun isn't new. It's a place that's been a staple of the city for years and is only getting better. Matson's Bowling and Billiards always has open bowling available with no long lines, unlike other centers. They have live music almost every weekend and great food at EJ's Bar and Lounge, with seating for 150 people. They have popular meals like the EJ Burger, pizza for the whole family, and famous EJ's Wings. Contact Sarah to book a party for friends, coworkers, or family at Matson's Bowling and Billiards, just south of 48th and Holdridge.
Welcome into Serve and Volley, featuring Nebraska assistant coach and recruiting coordinator Jaylen Reyes. Serve and Volley gives you a look behind the curtain of Nebraska volleyball and a coach's perspective on the world of college athletics. Serve and Volley is sponsored by Love Volleyball Nebraska. Become a Love Volleyball Nebraska member for your chance to engage with Love and its players. Now it's time for First Serve on Serve and Volley with your host, Jaylen Reyes.
All right, welcome in to Tick Weeknights. This is Serve and Volley. We got Nebraska Volleyball assistant coach Jaylen Reyes joining us in studio as always from Tuesday, 7 to 8 p.m. If you guys want to join in, 402-464-5685, Sarnder Heyman text line, Facebook, YouTube, X, Allo, Channel 961. Great ways to put a face to the voice. And we got another undefeated weekend. 24-0. I think it's 43 straight sets in a row. You probably don't look at those numbers to keep the main thing, yes. But for all the fans out there, we'll go through some of these numbers, but it's been a really great dominant run through this Big Ten schedule. And obviously it's not done yet. We talked left. You got 6 more guaranteed for sure in the regular season. But you got the West Coast trip coming up here, and then you're back home for Iowa. All that's on the table. But with all that being said, Jaylen Reyes, how's it going on a Tuesday night? Not as cold as it was yesterday. We're back to some decent weather.
It's nice. No, it's good to be here. Yeah, good week for the Huskers last week. All Huskers, I would say, involved, and hopefully, athletic department can have another great week this week.
Yeah, it's been awesome. Obviously, the basketball teams, women and men's. Men are actually tipping off right now, or should be pretty closely. Yep, and then you got women's basketball tomorrow, 8 p.m. versus Creighton. But everyone's been off to just a really good start so far. And obviously, Husker wrestling 33-3 win over Army. And then volleyball just keeps on doing what they're doing. And we'll start with that Illinois match. We got to talk with Mandy Munson on it about the post-game show. It just really electric numbers in that one. I think in that first set, you guys were hitting over 70, which is insane. And then on the match, I think you guys finished at like 0.488. Just really consistent the whole way through. Did it feel like that type of game was coming ahead when you walked into that one?
I felt like the team was really loose. It's actually funny, and my agent, actually, I feel weird saying that, but I do have an agent, and he was actually in town kind of visiting, and he came to our serve and pass. For people that are not super familiar with volleyball, serving a serve and pass is like what basketball calls shoot around the day of the game, or football, maybe they call it a walkthrough or something like that. But he was observing our serve and pass, and he's like, wow, your girls look really loose. But it wasn't in a, I don't know. He didn't say it in a, hey, they don't seem very focused. Now, mind you, this is somebody that watches us on television but has never actually seen our team like play in person or like especially practice in person. And, I just said, yeah, I mean, they had a great week of practice. We feel really prepared. I thought we did a really good job preparing for Illinois. And to start the match, I mean, Illinois came out and did exactly what we did, block and defensive wise. And I remember that first, I think they called a timeout within the first 7 or 8 points because we like kind of knew exactly where they're going to set the ball. We knew that where they wanted to hit it. We touched it, and then we transition killed it. And like what you said, I think we hit about 700 during the first set or after the first set. I think, we finished
7-14.
7-14.
And you held Illinois to 111.
Yeah. I mean, it was definitely one of the cleanest sets of volleyball we've played. Can you tell me? Are you looking at the sets right now? Can you tell me how many attack errors we had or E's in that one set? It'll say in the set. I don't know if you see the box score. If you open up the box score, it'll be in there. But
okay, let me pull up the box score.
It was like one of the cleanest volleyball sets we had. We didn't make that many hitting errors. We didn't get aced that much. I mean, it was one of those like we literally made the other team beat us, and then whenever we had the ball, we converted pretty quickly. So, I don't know. I just felt like our preparation, and you just get a feel sometimes, and you just feel like, hey, we're ready and stuff like that. And the girls came out and played really well, and kind of like you said, we were credit to the girls, they were able to maintain that. And in that third set, we were able to kind of do what we've been doing, like empty the bench, get a bunch of players in that haven't gotten as much playing time, and to their credit, we kind of kept it rolling.
And then real quickly, so I got it pulled up now. What's that stat you want me to pull up for you?
How many attack errors did we have in the first set? I don't remember off the top of my head.
Okay, first set. I'm not sure. Where's the not? I'll have to figure out where's that on here. I'm not seeing it.
I think it's it would be where sometimes it's like I don't know. Sometimes it's on like the bottom left. But anyway, that doesn't really matter. I just remember thinking like, wow. Even I'm like sitting there like, wow, we are. There's times this year where I'll sit on the sideline and I'm, even as their coach, I will be, whoa. If we played like this, I don't know that many teams in college volleyball that can actually play with us if we play this way. The key is, can we play that way in the biggest moments of the year? Can we sustain that? And can we play that way in like the biggest matches of the year? And every match is a big match, but I think people know what I'm talking about.
Yeah, absolutely. And then just some really great individual performances in that one as well. I know Chobway had an incredible game. Me and Mancy talked about that. I think she had, what was it? I think she had 20 digs. Was that her career high, or not career high, but it's like maybe a season high for her?
For sure. Yeah, she played great, and she was all over the place. She was part of the kind of the defensive barrage in that first set that we gave Illinois, where they didn't. It was one of those sets where I didn't even think Illinois, and obviously I'm not their coaching staff, but I didn't think they played bad. There's times where we'll crush teams in sets, and they're just serving balls out. They're whacking balls out of bounds. Sure, you could argue, okay, those are forced by the pressure your team puts on, but it would be considered an unforced error, right? They're hitting the ball physically out of bounds. Illinois really didn't do that. It was just they hit the ball in. We either touched it, blocked it, or dug it. And then once we got the ball, it was dig, set, kill. Like, it wasn't like we got into these long extended rallies, especially early in that first set. And I thought Laney was a big part of that.
Well, that's a lot of the, how these Huskers keep getting a lot of these wins where teams aren't, touching 20 points on a lot of these sets is, you mentioned a lot of the times even if they're serving, they don't get that point. They're not even getting an opportunity to go hit the ball back.
Right.
I mean, you guys are getting the serve and then you're scoring right off of it.
Right. I mean, it's kind of, we talk about like first ball kill. So like first ball FBSO is like when you first ball side out off the other team's serve, you never give them a chance to hit it. And then in transition, so transition is now they're hitting at us. We either block it or dig it. Now we have the ball, and that part of volleyball, no matter what part, anytime the volleyball rally is pass, serve, pass, set, hit, the first ball, everything else is in transition.
Mm-hmm.
Once we got the ball in transition, we never gave them a second shot to kill the ball. It was pass, set, hit, kill, and that's been a big emphasis for us because the ball, I mean, just like in any sport, the ball is so valuable, but it's like they can't kill it if they don't have it. And if we have it, if we kill it, they can't. I mean, it's as simple as that, right? It's just, so can we stress the other team by killing the ball? So that way, so people ask, why do teams suddenly hit the ball out a lot against you guys? Well, once they have it, they know they're like, well, we can't give it back to Nebraska. We have to kill this ball, right? So then teams they're willing to, they're trying to take a little bit too much chances because it's like, well, we could play it safe, hit it to them. They're going to block it. They're going to dig it, and now they're going to just set it back at us and hit it back at us. So the pressure our offense can provide. Sometimes our offense can be our best defense, if I'm being upfront, just because it puts so much pressure on teams to side out.
Yeah, and you mentioned it as well, and I'll pull up some stats. There are some really impressive stats that you mentioned already. Okay, so yeah, here it is. So, where can I find the metric here? So Nebraska's side out percentage leads the nation at 70.4% right now.
For the record, 70%. I didn't know that off the top of my head. If you're in women's volleyball, I preference by saying that in men's volleyball, they're two different games for people that know the sport. In men's volleyball, it's very much like what I just described.
Okay.
Serve, pass, set, hit. Just because the game is so powerful, both teams are so physical, guys tend to kill the ball very quickly. Versus in women's, you tend to get into those long extended rallies that a lot of fans love watching on television. So in women's volleyball, a great side out percentage, like if you side out at 63%, 64%, you're going to win a lot of games. And side out percentage means, as simple as it is, Harrison, every time I serve the ball at you, what percentage of the points when I'm serving do you win? If I miss my serve, that's a side out for you. If I serve a ball, you pass, set, hit, and you kill it on me, that's a side out. If I serve it at you and we get into this long extended rally, and then I end up hitting that ball, that rally, and I hit it out, that's a side out for you. So as simple as that. When the other team serves, how many times out of their serves do you win the point? If you side out at 63, 64%, you're going to be really good. The fact that you just told me we're siding out at 70% is pretty nuts. I mean, it's also...
Well, it's good they got the champions in here as well. So last year's champion was Penn State, obviously. Their side out was 64%. Then it was Texas 63, Texas again 68, Wisconsin 65, Kentucky 2020 at 70.
Right.
So all those numbers point to exactly what you're saying. Like, it's just tough to beat a team with that side out.
Right.
Percentage.
I mean, it's really hard. And then, I mean, so much so when I was coaching men's volleyball, when I played men's volleyball, because the literally once the other team gets the ball, you just have to assume they're going to kill it, because in men's, they're just, all the attackers are so much, like, they're so physical. You can have two people jumping out of the back row and hitting. You're trying to defend a 6'9" to 6'11" middle blocker when it's like, well, and then because the men are so powerful with the ball. The setters can just like manhandle and chuck the ball so quickly all over the court. It's almost impossible to play defense. You know, think of it. Men's volleyball is like a Big 12 football game. Like
offense all day.
You're not taking the under. You know, you take the under, you might as well just be donating your money somewhere else. You know, so it's 70% is what our goal was in men's volleyball. So the fact that we're like hovering around that number is pretty crazy.
And then, you know, with the hitting percentage as well, you guys were also hovering on some really great numbers there. I was listening to Busby McCallie and some of her interviews, really highlighting those middle blockers as well, and like making them a bigger part of the offense as opposed to last year, and let them be a little bit more aggressive. In your eyes, like how has that really transformed this team this year?
Yeah, I mean, it just makes you really hard to defend. You know, the defending middles. So like in volleyball, right? A lot of it is just you're trying to find spaces on the net that you want to attack, right? So the middles typically hit in the middle, and then Andy Jackson, Rebecca Alec too, but Andy Jackson hits that slide behind the setter on the right side of the net. If usually the great teams, sure, they have great left side attackers. Like for us, it would be Taylor Landfair and Harper Murray. But great teams are able to spread you out. And also great teams are also able to occupy different parts of the net. So the block can't just go post up on your outside hitters. So the quickest way to do that, and one of the most difficult things to defend, is middle blockers. Because if you can set them, and then Bergen has this ability to be able to set them on non-perfect passes. Typically, you need the ball to be perfect to set those guys because you're trying to set it so fast. Timing becomes an issue. So the closer the ball is to the net, the easier it is to set them. But the fact that we're able to set them from off the net kind of opens up everything else for other people. It basically, it makes the other team go, well, we can't just, okay, Bergen's running to the 10-foot line to set the ball. They can't just go to Harper. They can't just go to Taylor Landfair. They can't go to Skylar Pierce or Virginia Adriano or Ali Check. They have to wait because we can set, and we've been effective setting the middle right there. So
is the tight end a good analogy?
Great analogy. It just holds people in, right? Safeties, you can't move your safeties out to go cover your X receiver going over the top because there's somebody in the middle holding people in the middle. And then the other thing that it also allows is typically your middles, because you typically set them on good passes, they tend to be the most efficient attackers. And you can look at any team. Most teams, the people with the highest hitting percentages tend to be your middle blockers. So it's like, if they're the most efficient, why don't we get them more swings, right? And it's as kind of as simple as that, but it's not simple at the same time, right? Like if they're hitting a high percentage, why not give them, even if it makes them a little less efficient, why don't we just give them more, right? So that was kind of a big emphasis for us is, being able to set those guys even more, and then I think the other thing too that really helps, and that, is the fact that, these guys have, especially Bergen, Becca, and Andy, they've played together a long time now when you really think about it, right? They're in year 3, all 3 of them together.
Yeah,
so
really good continuity.
That's just something that you can't, sure, you can try to put it in a microwave and microwave it pretty quickly, but like there's sometimes they just kind of know where each other is going to be, and Bergen has a good feel of when to set them and where to set them and how to set them and how fast they need it, how much height they need, and sure, like that's coaching, but I also think a lot of it is just the athletes and the time they've spent together, and stuff like that. So, those are, I think, all things like great recipe for success. And then I think another indicator is like, hey, if we can set those guys a lot, that means first contact, passing, digging, we're doing a good enough job getting the ball high enough closer to the net so that way we can set them, right? Sometimes it's not how many kills the middles have, it's how many sets did they get, because that's kind of a determining factor, right? It's like, I would assume in football, it's like sometimes it's not the yards that a running back gets, how many touches are they getting? If they get a lot of touches means, right, it means a lot of different things. For sure, hey, the yards they get, if they get a lot of touches, increases their chance of scoring. But it's like, okay, if we're running the ball a lot, that means the offensive line is doing their job. If we're running the ball a lot, means we're controlling the clock, defenses on the bench. If we're running the ball a lot, means, hey, we're not having to throw, like we're probably not playing in 3rd and 10 a lot or 2nd and 15, right? If we're controlling the game that way. So I would say like setting the middle is very much like running the football in football, to where you are kind of controlling the game. You're kind of hitting the other team like kind of in the middle, literally and figuratively in the middle. So that way it's like, well, we know the balls are going to go out to the pin most often, but the fact that they're so efficient and they do set it a lot, sometimes even more than other teams do, it's a huge, huge deal, you know. And I think of it honestly from our side of things on the defensive side, teams that have great outside hitters, don't get me wrong, they're tough to deal with, but usually the teams that can hit you in the middle of the court and with the slide, sometimes they're the hardest ones to defend, because they make you stay inside, and now you open up something that you know is going to get set a lot, but you can't commit to going to it because they will set the middle once in a while. So, you know, from the defensive side of things, that's the toughest team to prepare for. So I'm happy that right now we're playing like, you know, who I would not want to prepare for. You know?
Yeah. I mean, it's just another threat to your point that you have to account for, and you got to take that half second, which in volleyball will kill you if you're sitting there thinking about it. How much of players, especially like a player like Rebecca Alec, enjoyed more of that responsibility in terms of scoring, being on that offensive side?
Oh yeah. You know, just getting to work with her, being our position coach, her first 3 years. I'm not her position coach anymore. Our goal with Rebecca was always like, let's get you set more. It's not even about what you're hitting. It's like, can you get set more? Because if you're getting set a lot, it means you're putting the ball away, right? Like Bergen's not going to set you if you're not killing the ball, right? And then it's also like, can you find more opportunities to get set? Does that make sense? So in transition, in certain opportunities, can we make sure that, hey, we're getting up, we're available, and we're not just banking on, oh, it has to be a perfect pass for me to get set, you know?
And before we move on, you know, just any more major pictures of that Illinois game that you want to highlight? It was really dominant. You know, I don't even know if you can nitpick things that you want to work on better in that one, but anything left on that Illinois game before we move on?
I mean, honestly, not really. I mean, we got a lot of work in. We got some great video, even for some of our younger players that got to play, and they came in and didn't miss a beat. You know, I think one thing too is just like in transition, or like the transition thing I was talking about, when we don't dig the ball perfect and we can't necessarily set the middle, and our pin attackers have to take like big swings out of system when the whole gym knows the ball's going to them. It's a higher set. The block's going to be set. The defense is going to be set. Can we stress and score more efficiently in those situations, which is something I think every volleyball team in the country is working on.
Absolutely. With that being said, you guys are always welcome to join in. 402-464-5685, Facebook, YouTube, X, Allo, Channel 961. We got the Nebraska Volleyball assistant coach, Jaylen Reyes, in studio with us. We'll throw it to break here. We'll talk about more Husker Volleyball on the other side. Don't go anywhere. 93.7 The Ticket.
Concrete Industries has immediate job openings for precast production laborers and maintenance technicians. Concrete Industries offers great pay, health benefits, 401k, a wellness program, holidays, and paid time off. Apply today to earn a starting pay of $21.50 per hour plus a $1,500 hiring bonus. Concrete Industries is hiring all experience levels and offers on-the-job training. Start your career today as a precast production laborer or maintenance technician. Visit concreteindustries.com.
Hello, this is Mary Pat Waite. I've had the privilege of working with Lincoln Families as their realtor for more than 31 years, and I'm so proud to be associated with MP Dodge Real Estate. For me, your transaction is unique in its own way. My experience allows me to bring you trusted care and a really great outcome. My NP Dodge family shares the same client focus.
Expand your career with NP Dodge. Call Eric at 402-434-2222.
Equipment for your high schooler in sports, or for yourself in your sports leisures. But buying new is awfully expensive. Why not go somewhere with new and used options? Play It Again Sports is quality, slightly to gently used equipment, and 50% of their inventory is actually new equipment. And it's more than baseball, softball, and golf. They also have equipment for disc golf, fitness, hockey, and more. Plus, they're always buying products. Bring your gear you're done with and get trade money on the spot. Play It Again Sports at 48th and Vine. Select Plumbing Plumbing and Utility has been serving Lincoln and the surrounding area for 14 years, and they're not slowing down. Select Plumbing and Utility handles all your plumbing needs, from faucets and water heaters to full renovations, and they can even help with your heating and cooling needs. They're also Lincoln's underground experts, repairing and replacing broken underground water and sewer lines since day one. Contact Select Plumbing and Utility today at 402-560-6197, assuring excellence in every situation, opportunity, and challenge. That's 402-560-6197.
Lincoln's go-to for fun isn't new. It's a place that's been a staple of the city for years and is only getting better. Matson's Bowling and Billiards always has open bowling available with no long lines, unlike other centers. They have live music almost every weekend and great food at EJ's Bar and Lounge, with seating for 150 people. They have popular meals like the EJ Burger, pizza for the whole family, and famous EJ's Wings. Contact Sarah to book a party for friends, coworkers, or family at Matson's Bowling and Billiards, just south of 48th and Holdridge.
Are you tired of your usual barbershop experience? Stop into Scissors and Scotch today. I know what you're thinking. Drink during a haircut? Don't worry. First comes the precision cut from one of their experienced barbers, followed by your complimentary cocktail in their upscale lounge. Scissors and Scotch blends your old school barber feel with your favorite watering hole. And now you can earn $10 off by simply mentioning the ticket. And if you're an existing member, still mention the ticket for an exclusive offer. Offer valid at Lincoln location only. Scissors and Scotch, located just south of 30th and Yankee Hill, and online at lincoln.scissorscotch.com.
Tune in to Outside the Box from 4 to 5 p.m. for everything you need to know about the Lincoln Stars. Join head coach Rocky Russo and play-by-play voice Alex Fern as they sit down with special player guests to tell the story of the Lincoln Stars and give you all the news and notes you need from around the USHL. That's Outside the Box with the Lincoln Stars on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
Have you heard about Advanced Medical Imaging Surgery Center? Located at 7555 Pioneers Boulevard, Advanced Medical Imaging Surgery Center offers compassionate, patient-focused care and provides outpatient surgery services, making it possible to have non-emergency surgery and return home the same day. Advanced Medical Imaging Surgery Center specializes in cardiology, vascular radiology, orthopedics, pain management, and much, much more. Give them a call today at 402-261-1085 or online at amimaging.com.
From the chant of Husker Power to Allo Fiber powering your home and Husker Nation, Allo is the teammate you can trust. Whether you're streaming at home with Allo Internet, watching on the go with DirecTV through Allo, or checking stats and scores on Allo Mobile, Allo keeps you in the game. Bench the other guys and team up with the official internet, TV, and mobile partner of the Huskers. Go Gig Red. Visit allofiber.com/Husker Radio.
All ticketing options for the 2026 Love Nebraska season are now available. Single match tickets start as low as $16, even cheaper if you want to bring a group. Don't miss your chance to see professional stars like Jordan Larson and Lexi Rodriguez in action this season. Purchase your preferred ticketing option today by visiting lovneb.com/tickets.
This is your year to win way more than bragging rights. At Warhorse Casino, your love of the game could earn you serious cash. The Pro Football Frenzy is free to play with cash prizes all season long, like up to $1,000 weekly, with your chance at $1 million, all while earning tier points and comp points every time you place a sports bet. Only at Warhorse Casino. Wagers may only be placed on Nebraska-based teams when played outside the state of Nebraska. Must be 21 or older to gamble. Gambling problem? Call 1-833-BET-OVER.
93.7 The Ticket, Fox, KFXL Weather. Brought to you by Bryant Air Conditioning, Heating, Electrical, and Plumbing.
Your Lincoln forecast for today, we'll see decreasing clouds throughout the day with a light breeze. It'll be mild with a high near 67. Tonight, mainly clear skies and calm winds, below around 36. And tomorrow, we'll see mainly sunny skies and light winds with a high around 62. I'm meteorologist Kyle Fletcher from 93.7 Ticket and theticketfm.com.
In every office, there's two types of people. There are those who bring in bagels and those who eat the bagels that someone else brought in. Everybody likes the first person. Be that first person. Weekday mornings at 7:30, you have a chance to win a business box of bagels from Bagels & Joe. All you have to do is shut up, Sipple. 2 questions for you, 2 for Sip. Win and the bagels are yours. Lose, well, you don't want to lose.
You lost Monday, you lost Wednesday, you're a loser.
Shut up, Sipple. Weekday mornings at 7:30, brought to you by Bagels & Joe. Welcome into Serve and Volley. with your host, Nebraska assistant coach and recruiting coordinator Jaylen Reyes.
Welcome back in segment number 2. Starter Heyman text line always open as well as the streams. You can comment there as well. We were talking Husker volleyball here, and we wrapped up their match versus Illinois. Let's talk a little bit about Minnesota. You guys hit the road for that one. Number 22, Minnesota at that. You guys win, as you mentioned earlier. I think that number's 43 straight sets, and nothing changed there. As you go 3-0 on the road, Minnesota. Where do you want to start with this one?
I mean, that was. I mean, there's a lot to unpack there. I feel like one. That's another for volleyball fans out there. The PAV or the Pavilion up in Minnesota. It's a really, really awesome place. It's another, I would say. I mean, we've gotten lucky this year getting to play in front of. We got to go to Penn State at Rec Hall. We got to go play at the Fieldhouse at Wisconsin, and then, we got to go play at the other. In my opinion, overall, especially longevity-wise, one of the best fan bases in the Big Ten at Minnesota. So that's always fun. It was a sellout.
How much red?
There was a good amount of red.
Okay.
Though. There was a good amount of red, but Minnesota, they
usually do good though.
They have their season ticket holders. They got courtside seats. They have the suites up top above their locker room and stuff like that. It's a really awesome volleyball gym too. It's really cool. A lot of space, but it's this like very intimate setting too, where it's like, it's kind of about the players. It's a really cool gym to play in and compete in. So we got to do that, obviously. Little homecoming for Taylor Landfair, who transferred a couple years ago from Minnesota, and she ended up having a great match. This is going to be her, I would assume, her last game ever played there. And, somebody that's obviously been an All-American, Big Ten Player of the Year at one school and, is a grad of Minnesota. I think that meant a lot to her. And I think she did a really good job all week of just being level-headed and not, I've seen sometimes transfers when they go back to their old schools, it's like they freak out, they kind of lose their minds, they don't play very well because it's just they're so emotionally.
You want it almost too much.
Yeah, exactly. It's like they're kind of, I'm not going to say out for blood, but a little bit like that. Taylor was like Taylor, and she's been playing great, so.
It kind of helps on that team too, because it's like, am I going to really be taking over and like making my own decisions when I got a roster like this around
right
me?
Exactly, right. So it's not like, oh my gosh, she's coming back and she's gonna get 70 swings, so it's she just came in, played her role like how she normally does, and she played awesome. I think she hit over 500, and
to be fair, you probably could give her 70 swings.
Yeah, we probably
see
could,
what she does with it.
So it's that's, I would say that's one thing. And it was really cool. And that, like, I think it meant a lot to her. And I think she even thanked the team, like, hey, thanks for making this a really easy, not easy game, but making it easy for me to come back here. And, because, there's emotions fly when that stuff happens. And I've been around enough where, that I've seen some of that not work out for the player coming back to their old school. So definitely there. Middles obviously had a really nice game again. Andy Jackson, Becca Alec had a great game. I thought Bergen Riley played awesome. I thought, I think we passed okay. We gave up some aces here or there. But again, when the ball was in play, I thought Bergen Riley did such a great job. Virginia Adriano got off to a great start.
Yeah, Riley had 45 assists on the night.
In 3 sets is pretty crazy. So I thought like we played a good game, and then I would say on the flip side, that team, Minnesota, is definitely better than, in my opinion, their record. Julia Hansen's going to be, probably, I don't know, in my opinion, she's a first-team All-American. She'll for sure be an All-American. What team, that also will be decided how they finish the year. But and then they got a bunch of young players on that team that are really, really talented. And we knew that going in, but it's like, wow, when you're actually out there competing against them, I think Keegan Cook's got something going, especially in the future. And you look down at his bench and, they have, 4 people with season-ending injuries already. And I know they were really looking forward to this season. And obviously a couple of, a few injuries, maybe more than a few injuries have kind of derailed that to a degree, but they're still competing really hard. And I, just really impressive what some of those kids can do. Carly Gilk, freshman opposite, she's an opposite that's left-handed, but she passes like every single row as well, which is pretty cool, like pretty amazing for a freshman outside hitter, and then let alone an outside hitter, she's an opposite. So you typically don't see that.
It's like Archie Wilson punting both sides.
Exactly.
Left and right leg.
So she can kind of do both. And And then, and then Julian Henson had a really nice match and stuff like that. I don't think, to kind of get into like what we could do better on this one. I think blocking, I don't feel like our defense was good, but it wasn't great.
Well, that second set I want to talk about, because that was one where, credit Minnesota, they fought. Because in that second set, if we can talk about maybe some areas to do better, 16-6 at one point, but then they do climb all the way back and it gets to 22-19. You guys do end up winning the set 25-21, but Minnesota had a moment there where they really started coming back. What was Minnesota doing that was being so effective, and what was Nebraska at that moment kind of struggling with?
I mean, the biggest thing was just our serve receive, and that's going to be it's been a topic of conversation for us, is just when teams have gone on runs on us, it's because of the other team's serve. And credit to the other team. They've served really well. We just need to do a better job of just like managing those situations and make sure at the end of the day, like we can get the ball to Bergen, and it doesn't even need to be a perfect pass. That run was all just their serving. And, like you said, they were down
16-6.
Yeah, they were down that far and they go back, they side out. One server goes back there, she gets 2 or 3. And then we side out. And then they side out pretty quickly, and then they go back there and get 2 or 3. So next, this leads down to 5. So, thinking about the Creighton match, thinking about the Kentucky match, that's kind of how teams have not chosen, but that's how we've like sometimes bleed some points away. So, there was little runs in the third set too that were off their serving pressure and stuff like that. So that's something we need to just mitigate. We can't necessarily control whether someone hits a great serve at us or not. And we can't, I think when people are like, well, hey, when you get I'm like, yeah, like sometimes you're going to get aced, right? Other teams we're playing are pretty good, so just can we in those moments as a passing group, that would be for the most part, the people that pass for us is T. Sigler, Harbor Murray, Laney Choboy, Olivia Malk, Taylor Lanfer for a row or two. Can they just battle to where, hey, if it's a great serve, it doesn't even have to be high on the net. Can we just keep it high in the middle of the court, out by where the 10-foot line is? And we have plenty, we have, in my opinion, probably the best setter in the country. And, we have some pretty dynamic attackers that can even hit, like kill balls and put stress on other teams when we're technically not in system or on the net. So for us in those situations, when we do face a tough server or a tough serve, can we just battle to get that high in the middle of the court so that way we can run some offense?
How do you get when those things start happening where teams are starting to really rally on, especially on that serve, what does it look like to get the team just kind of relaxed, locked back in, to not panic a little bit?
No, yeah, for sure. I think that's something that we're definitely as a staff, like that's one of our biggest things we're looking for in matches, right? So I think a lot of it is that's why you use timeouts sometimes just to kind of break the rhythm of the server. The other thing we do is you can change your passing formations. Like, hey, they're attacking somebody in a specific zone, but maybe they don't want to attack this person. Let's maneuver the passing formation so that way the zone that this person feels the most comfortable with, maybe we can put a passer that they're not trying to get after at the time, or a different passer in there to give them a different look, And the other thing is just like, big thing for us, especially with passing, right, is like just trusting your fundamentals, right? And trusting what you see and just reminding them, each of the different passers have different cues for what is important to them, So, I think like, hey, can we just make sure that, hey, whatever cue it is, if it's Harper, it's something. If it's Laney, it's something. If it's Olivia, it's something. As the coaching staff, like, hey, can we just remind them what are their cues, get them to look at the server and see it off their hand?
We got Todd off of X here, and you can go as long or as little as you want on this. It is a good question, though. What does a typical away match day look like? I'm not sure if they mean like the preparation of the practice beforehand, or even just some of the traveling and getting all that stuff done.
Yeah, so that I would say that's a good question. Basically, what's our preparation for road matches and what does that day look like? So the day before, typically, I'm saying this, but now we're changing the schedule this week because
I guess he does say match day.
Match day.
Be fair to Tom.
Okay, perfect. Yep. So typically, we're usually there the day before. So it depends on the time of the day, time of the match. But let's just say if it's a normal evening, 6 o'clock, 7 o'clock match, we typically have serve and pass, or our version of shoot around, or our version of So the girls wake up. We usually do breakfast around 9 o'clock in the hotel. Maybe we'll watch a little bit of video depending on how much video we watch already with them. And we kind of do it by positions. So we all get with our position groups. Danny has the setters. Kelly has the liberos. Brendan has the middles. And then I have the all the pin hitters. So the opposites and the outside hitters. And we go through video based on what's important for them for that match. And then
how long are those video sessions? Does it vary quite a bit?
No, they're usually about
just quick reminders. Like, this is what we want.
Hopefully we've already prepped the team on certain things. Most of the stuff they're watching at that time, they should have already seen before. It's just a reminder. So then we'll go to serve and pass. And usually, serve and pass can be anywhere from, it's usually about an hour. And sometimes, depending on the time that we have, it could be 10 to 11. It could be 11 to 12. It could be 10:30. It's always kind of a different time. But somewhere in that later morning, lunchtime time, like noonish time for an hour. And then that's when we usually go, we warm up. We do our serving and passing. We do a little bit of defense. We do a little bit of like a walkthrough in terms of the scouting report, depending on how we want to defend things. And then we'll go through like our offensive stuff where Campbell and Bergen are setting off the passers. Offensive people are hitting their routes depending on who's hitting. Sometimes some people will either just pass or they won't get set as much. Or, if you're redshirting, sometimes those guys will like fully jump and hit just because we know like this is kind of their workout for the day. Then typically if we have, a 7 o'clock match, typically our pre-match meal is at 3 o'clock-ish. We go back to the hotel, hang out for a little bit. I will be kind of like going through all our scouting report stuff, making sure we're all dialed in for the match, going through like our serving plan for different teams, like where we want to serve in specific situations. And then typically we usually leave for the arena. We usually check out of the hotel. We leave for the arena. If it's a 7 o'clock match, we're usually leaving depending on traffic at 5:30 to 5:40, usually an hour and a half to an hour 15 minutes before the match. That's kind of when we're typically
tick up a little bit with the West Coast traffic. I'm sure this weekend we'll get to that.
Oh yeah, this schedule will be a little different, but then we play the match. Hopefully it goes well, and then typically we'll have media stuff after the game. Girls are kind of seeing their families, taking a shower, and then usually head to the airport and hop on the plane. So it's pretty low key, but there's a lot that goes into it, and a lot of it's kind of routine, and it's all kind of determined based on what time the match is and what time our serve and pass is, because that's kind of sometimes out of our control.
Well, speaking of away matches, we just mentioned it. You got USC, UCLA. Which one's first? I guess I can pull up the schedule.
We have UCLA on Friday, SC on Sunday.
Yep, it's 9 p.m. on Friday. Obviously, 9 p.m. Central Time here for us, and then at 2 p.m. versus USC on that Sunday. Kind of nice to get some of these old Pac-12 schools. I know that Lincoln football obviously enjoyed it, especially considering the weather we had here over the weekend. Going out there in UCLA, DP is beautiful. Those guys were out there, wearing shorts, and the Nebraska fans were still wearing denim with the cowboy boots and everything. But nonetheless, I think it's just something I kind of look forward to. It's still business, right?
For sure.
You're going there to win, but you get to go to the West Coast.
Trip. That was one thing we looked at though at the time, was like when we saw the schedule and it was like, ooh, LA in November. Like for us, it was, you're kind of like, that's kind of when we want that weather, right?
Exactly.
So, but no, it's definitely a business trip. I mean, these two teams, they've been playing really well, especially like USC, who's, I would say us, Purdue, and USC. I think we're all three on like the longest winning streaks in the conference. So they're playing really well right now. UCLA is too, and UCLA is getting healthier. But yeah, I think that's something we're definitely looking forward to. We have some girls that have never been in California, so that'd be kind of fun for them, and get to see obviously one of the big, one of America's big great cities. Obviously, you're gonna see some. They're gonna learn what actual traffic is, and stuff like that. And then again, like talk about blue bloods of the sport. SC and UCLA, they're one of the few programs that have had the luxury of winning national championships in women's volleyball. So, I know we're going to be playing in front of 2 sold-out arenas. Shocker. But it's going to be kind of fun because if I'm being honest, there's a lot to do in LA. Like typically, a lot of people, I think Husker fans probably realized it when they went to the Rose Bowl. There's a lot to do in LA, and sometimes it's not like going to support the local college teams in a big city. It's not a college town out there. So
and then that's why you go look at the Rose Bowl and you're
like,
that's a lot of red.
Exactly.
Almost a takeover.
So I think it'd be I think it's going to be a really fun weekend, but at the same time, we need to make sure we're ready to go starting Friday night.
Absolutely.
UCLA is going to be really good.
Yeah, I think both those opponents, as you mentioned, especially with USC and UCLA too, you want to give them their credit. But on the bright side, you will be followed by a lot of Husker fans. Not only do they travel well, I mean, we can keep talking about attendance records we're setting on other schools for singles.
I think we're definitely going to set 2 more this weekend.
Yeah,
from what I've been hearing.
It's the West Coast. I mean, we saw a little bit of that with the football team. Not only do you want to go support your team, it's an opportunity to get out of the Midwest in the cold months. So
Right.
I'd imagine.
And I heard there's a lot of Nebraska, either alums or Nebraska people that are in California. Is that correct?
Oh,
Someone was talking about that. I think when I was watching the football game last weekend, I think people were talking about that.
Yeah, there's a ton. Me and Chris Raff were even talking about it with the football team, and now volleyball's in that kind of, I do put them in that hierarchy too of just how well known and recognized they are. And like, you'll go find these Husker bars in California and New York
Right.
and Philadelphia, and it's Husker Central.
I've seen one in Phoenix. I've been to actually the one in the Scottsdale, Phoenix area.
Snowbird cities will have a lot of the Husker towns or Husker bar places where you can go and pull up.
Yep. That the Phoenix one makes sense to me because I know there's a lot of Nebraskans that go down at the Arizona, the Phoenix area, especially in this time of the year, obviously.
Yeah, I'm still waiting for my parents. They talk about that nice Phoenix heat all the time. So we'll see. Shout out to Chuck, Jolie, and Arns. Great parents.
That's awesome.
We got to throw it to break here, though. Don't go anywhere. We got one more segment left with Nebraska Volleyball assistant coach Jaylen Reyes.
Are you ready for a new opportunity? Check out Sandhills Global. Join a dynamic team where your skills are valued and your career can soar. We offer full-time positions with a 4.5-day work week, competitive pay, excellent benefits, and a positive work environment. From IT and marketing to sales and finance, we're looking for talented individuals just like you. Apply today at sandhills.jobs and take the first step towards an exciting future. That's sandhills.jobs. Don't wait, apply now.
Are you tired of your usual barbershop experience? Stop into Scissors and Scotch today. I know what you're thinking. Drink during a haircut? Don't worry. First comes the precision cut from one of their experienced barbers, followed by your complimentary cocktail in their upscale lounge. Scissors and Scotch blends your old school barber feel with your favorite watering hole. And now you can earn $10 off by simply mentioning the ticket. And if you're an existing member, still mention the ticket for an exclusive offer. Offer valid at Lincoln location only. Scissors and Scotch, located just south of 30th and Yankee Hill, and online at lincoln.scissorscotch.com.
Tune in to Outside the Box from 4 to 5 p.m. for everything you need to know about the Lincoln Stars. Join head coach Rocky Russo and play-by-play voice Alex Fern as they sit down with special player guests to tell the story of the Lincoln Stars and give you all the news and notes you need from around the USHL. That's Outside the Box with the Lincoln Stars on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
This Black Friday, it is time to hit your goals before the new year even starts. At Farrell's Extreme Body Shaping, get 40% off our next 10-week challenge, plus 6 weeks for free to kickstart your fitness journey. Start training December 1st with kickboxing, strength training, and personalized nutrition. So when our official challenge begins January 10th, you're already ahead of the game. Spots are limited. Don't wait for January to make your resolution. Start strong now. Visit fxblincoln.com or stop by one of our 2 locations at South 40th and Yankee Hill or North 70th and Vine. Farrell's Extreme Body Shaping. Stronger starts here.
Rashawn Jackson here for Bauer Underground, who has been serving local contractors and utility contractors all across the state since 1997. When you see the black and white trucks, you know the baddest dudes in the business have arrived. Bauer is currently looking for equipment operators, laborers, diesel mechanics, and aerial linemen. Join the brotherhood built on hard work, authentic people, and pedigree of success. Bauer, a family-friendly company who reminds you, go Big Red!
Fall is here, and so are cooler temps, darker evenings, and slick roads. Is your vehicle ready for the change in seasons? At A1 Automotive, we've got you covered. From tire checks, brake inspections, batteries, and heater systems, we make sure your car is road ready for the Nebraska winters ahead. Don't wait until the first frost. Schedule your fall car care checkup today and drive with confidence all season long. A1 Automotive, always honest answers.
Have you heard about Advanced Medical Imaging Surgery Center? Located at 7555 Pioneers Boulevard, Advanced Medical Imaging Surgery Center offers compassionate, patient-focused care and provides outpatient surgery services, making it possible to have non-emergency surgery and return home the same day. Advanced Medical Imaging Surgery Center specializes in cardiology, vascular radiology, orthopedics, pain management, and much, much more. Give them a call today at 402-261-1085 or online at amimaging.com.
The 2026 Love Nebraska schedule is here. Season 2 features 10 opportunities to catch your home team in Nebraska, with 9 at Baxter Arena and 1 at the Heartland Events Center in Grand Island. More matches means more chances to see your favorite pro volleyball athletes, like Lexi Rodriguez and Jordan Larson. Check out the full schedule by visiting lovbneb.com/schedule.
Hello, this is Mary Pat Waite. I've had the privilege of working with Lincoln families as their realtor for more than 31 years, and I'm so proud to be associated with MP Dodge Real Estate. For me, your transaction is unique in its own way. My experience allows me to bring you trusted care and a really great outcome. My NP Dodge family shares the same client focus.
Expand your career with NP Dodge. Call Eric at 402-434-2222.
Alexa, play 93.7 The Ticket.
Okay, playing 93.7 The Ticket.
Alexa, turn down the lights.
Dimming the lights.
Alexa, order a pizza, the big one, all the toppings.
Are you sure that's a good idea?
Alexa.
That's a lot of pizza for just one man.
Alexa, just do it. Stop judging me, just do it.
As you wish.
Thanks, Alexa. You're my best friend.
From the chant of Husker Power to Allo Fiber powering your home and Husker Nation, Allo is the teammate you can trust. Whether you're streaming at home with Allo Internet, watching on the go with DirecTV through Allo, or checking stats and scores on Allo Mobile, Allo keeps you in the game. Bench the other guys and team up with the official Internet, TV, and mobile partner of the Huskers. Go Gig Red. Visit allofiber.com/Husker Radio.
Welcome into Serve and Volley with your host, Nebraska assistant coach and recruiting coordinator, Jaylen Reyes.
All right, welcome back in. Final segment. We got Nebraska Volleyball assistant coach Jaylen Reyes. You can get any final second questions, 402-464-5685 as the volleyball team gets ready for the road facing UCLA. That one Friday, 9 p.m. And, of course, Sunday, that is 2 p.m. versus USC. Real quickly, let's just sum up those two teams. We talked about UCLA a little bit already, but real quickly, what are the things to watch out for this UCLA Bruins team?
Super physical. I mean, they have an outside hitter named Sheridan Leverett, who's pretty experienced now, but just a really physical attacker. I mean, just another one that's lined up that we have to play against. The other thing, too, is they have a really nice group of middles. Mariana Singletary is a transfer from Texas. Number 4, Briscoe. I can't remember her first name, but she played against us last year. She wasn't quite ready, but now she's like playing really well. I remember she got off to a great start. Brooklyn Briscoe. I know she's from San Diego. But she's had a really nice year. And then actually, PK Kong, who actually played for Danny at Louisville.
Okay.
Decided to take her 5th year summer different. She transferred to UCLA. So now it's like, this is going to be one of Danny's first experience of coaching against one of her former players, which would be kind of interesting if I'm being honest. But they have a bunch of really good athletes. They're a team that has typically recently played a lot of people. They've gone kind of the transfer route too. All those players I brought up besides Briscoe are transfers. Leverett's been there since she was a freshman, though. They have a transfer setter that they've been playing. The libero's a transfer from Wisconsin, so she's familiar with us. They just have a lot of players that they can play because they have a lot of good volleyball players. And then the middles and Leverett will be for sure in there. Lola Schumacher's a libero that's really talented. And then depending on who they play around them, they could kind of change their system. So if they play an opposite, that's like PK Kong, who's a middle, they could end up doing a double quick system. Versus if they play a traditional pin hitter at opposite, they'll play more of a system like we play. So they can kind of mold their system based on the personnel out there. And then because they're so comfortable playing a lot of different people, and they have been playing 2 setters, they could hop into a 6-2 as well. So they're just a lot to prepare for because that, and I think just from reading and from watching on video, it seems like all their players that we thought that were going to be players for them at the beginning of the year, it seems like they're all back, which means they're all kind of healthy. I know they were kind of there. It was like a couple girls were in and out for these couple weeks, and then once they came back, someone else got it. So it was just like they never really had this full complement of players since the beginning of the year. So this will be a challenge for us for sure, and a lot of it is just how they set the ball. They set the ball really fast. They had some physical attackers. For volleyball fans out there, they also set the ball like really far inside, which is very different compared to some other people. So just the system they implement is going to be really, really something that we need to prepare for because we don't necessarily see it all the time.
What's that venue like? The Poly
Pavilion. It's a really awesome venue. I say that because I've had the luxury. UCLA also has a men's volleyball team, so I got to play there. In fact, probably sad story, but we lost my sophomore year. We lost in the national championship game in that building, but it's an iconic venue, right? It's John Wooden coach there, right? Al Skates, men's volleyball coach who won 19 national championships, coach there. There's a lot of volleyball national championships, men's and women, that have been played there. It's a lot of the best volleyball players, especially from the United States, have either played there, went to school there. So it's just, there's a lot of high-level volleyball that has taken place in that building, and hopefully Friday night we can add another game to that.
Yeah, that's UCLA. A lot of their venues are just full of history. Just a lot of iconic moments. What what capacity is for that one? I'm trying to figure out which of the Husker fans are more likely, but they'll be at both. Don't get me wrong. They'll be at both
for sure. I know the Galen Center at USC, I think, is around 10. I want to say Poly Pavilion. I don't know if you can look that up real quick. I want to say Poly Pavilion is a little bigger. I want to say it's like 11 or 12.
Ooh, yeah. It can 12,000. The highest they got is 13,800.
Is that for
permanent seats are 11,300. Total capacity for a basketball game, they can get it up to about 1,400. But it's you're sitting at about 11,000.
Okay. So I would say it was definitely more than 10. I want to say Galen Center is just right over 10. That's USC's arena, which is another great volleyball gym. USC's gym, they're both bigger arenas. I would say the Galen Center at USC kind of reminds me of Devaney. It just, we don't have that upper deck section. That's why they have, a couple more thousand people than we can get.
Right.
But Poly Pavilion is like it's a big space, so hopefully Husker fans can come show out. And I just hope, honestly, all volleyball fans can come out. Like, volleyball in Southern California has always been a huge thing. Hopefully people can brave the traffic. Oh, I know people are going to brave the traffic because I know both the matches are already sold out. So somebody's coming to the matches, and it should be a fun weekend.
Yeah, I mean, there's going to be so many Husker fans, and then for USC the capacity is 10,000. So that'd be another big arena for both those teams to perform. But volleyball's at that point where there's obviously a lot of Husker fans that are going to travel, but there's a lot of Husker fans that have been Husker fans for a long time. And I do wonder, when I'm looking across some of these venues, as well as we travel, like, how many of these kids are just showing up in Husker jerseys, being born in the state of California? But that's the team they're falling in love with.
I would be hard pressed if you asked a Minnesota player, because Minnesota is like, top 5-6 fan base in the country.
Yeah.
I would bet hard pressed that their players were probably a little shocked when they looked around and saw how many little kids were wearing Nebraska stuff, and how many people were they came out for their intros and people were cheering, and we came out for our warm up, or during warm ups, like an hour-ish before the game. Their players come out and they get a nice ovation. Our players come out and it's 2 times as loud. And that's kind of normal, but it's always interesting to see it at a Penn State or Minnesota or Wisconsin, where it's like, wait, this fan base is also proud of their team. Not like others aren't, but I think people that understand volleyball, they know hey, there's some fan bases that are they attract a little more followers, and especially the 3 that I just mentioned. And stuff like that. So I don't know. I think it's going to be a fun weekend. Hopefully we can come out on top, and, hopefully at the end of the day, we can use this week to keep getting better to our ultimate goal.
Absolutely. We mentioned at the very beginning, not a ton of regular seasons left in the schedule. You guys got a nice road trip, and then we'll talk about it. You get Iowa at home. That's always a big one. Real quickly, is there a big rivalry sense with that game, or is it, let's just take care of business here?
More business, and Minnesota, Wisconsin, Penn State are kind of the rivals in conference for sure.
Okay, fair enough. That's going to do it for us. This has been Serve and Volley. That is Nebraska Volleyball assistant coach Jaylen Reyes. I'm Harrison Arns. Don't go anywhere. We'll keep things rolling. Good morning, Pure Snell, coming up next.